To eliminate the zip bulge, you get at the waistline, and yeah, you could get them sometimes at the hip, between the hip line to the waistline. To eliminate that particular bulge or spikiness you get at that point, you need to start from the basics, from the foundation. So now I have my back bodies already drafted. This is it. So you can draft yours, whatever method you use in drafting, you do yours. So this is a back bodies for a top. See, it gets down to the hip. And here is my zipper allowance. So we'll be working on this area. So when you're looking at a human being, you know, our back doesn't go straight. Our back isn't flat. Rather, it is flat, but then it doesn't go straight. Instead, it is created in a way that it is a bit curved, right? It is curved, so it doesn't go all the way. Doesn't go all the way straight. It is curved. It is like a stretched S, right? Or sometimes a stretched C. Okay, no, sorry. It is a stretched S, right? So it doesn't go just straight. So when you fix the zip, because you fixed it straight, right? You then get that bulge because it's trying, that straightness you did, it's trying to fit into, or it's trying to rest here. So because it is straight, it then forms the spike and bulginess you get around that area. So to eliminate that, we need to look for a way to incorporate, to mimic the same curve we have on our back, on our back, on the back, yeah. So to do that, the first thing you do is to take your tape and you want to go in by an inch. I don't know if you can see the mark this pen is making. Okay, it's a bit visible, but let me use a marker. Now that you have made your 1 inch mark, the next thing you want to do is to connect, is to make, just extend the line from this point down to your neckline, and also from this point down to the hip line you have here, just by the side, by the center, right? So remember the explanation I made? Remember the explanation I made that our back is curved. So I find it a lot more effective when I use ruler. I mean, I find it more, comes out better when I use a curve tool than using a ruler, because our back is curved. This is the neck part, and then the back that takes in the part that has our middle back, the, what is it called, the back of the chest, from that area down to around the before you get to the bottom part of us, down to our tail, did I say our tail? That area is curved inwards, so it is better you use the curve tool, pattern master, French curve, whatever curve tool you have. So I prefer using it than using a ruler. At first I used to use rulers to make my line down here and this, but then I then tried using this and I found it to be a lot more better. So I want to use this to make a line to here and down here. So I'll start with this part. So you do not want it to go in this way. This is our target here. So we'll just keep on sculpting and taking it down till we get to here. So I'll use this end, just like this. So we have it down there. If you don't want it down there, you could actually make your curve to stop at the same point where your dart stopped. So you could say from this point. So you could just use your curve tool and make a curve. When you've gotten to a quarter of it, then you want to complete the curve this way, or you could use your hand, and do not let there be any pointiness in it. So the same thing I did for this part, I'm also going to do it for. Make sure everything is smooth and curved, and remove try to blend out anywhere you notice any sort of pointiness. So if you want to make yours stop here, that is okay, it is your choice. So I just want to blend this out a bit, right? So when I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is to add my seam allowance throughout the new zipper allowance line we just made. You could use 2 inches, whatever allowance you normally use to attach your zipper while sewing. You're free to use it at this moment. So I want to connect the dot, the new the seam allowance I made. Then I want to extend the neckline to this point. Of course, this point wouldn't be needed; it will be concealed by the time you fix your zip. So this, from this point to this point, will be inside. So I wouldn't be adding any allowance because I am not wearing the dress. I am simply showing you guys. The main focus of this video is to simply show you guys how to avoid any bulge on your dress at the zip area, and how to neatly fix your zipper, especially as it is curved in one part. So that is that. And I won't be adding any neckline, any facing allowance, or shoulder, that is to join another shoulder, or even any allowance at these areas, because I would not be wearing this at the end. I am just, my main focus is on this area. So I'll go ahead to cut this on my fabric without any allowances, and I explained to you why. The only allowance I'll be focusing on is this one, so I'm going to do that on my fabric right away, and I'll show you what I cut out. So I've gone ahead to cut on the fabric. So this is the fabric I'll be using, I'll be working with, and see the way here is curved. Alright, if you have a carbon paper and a tracing wheel, in order to trace this, you need to trace this out, because this is where your zipper will be on this first blue line we have here. So if you have a carbon paper and your tracing wheel, you could simply put it under, and then you start to trace. So because a carbon paper is not available to me, I would simply improvise. So you need to make sure that the markings gets transferred into the both sides, the left side, the left pattern for the back bodies and the right pattern for the back bodies. What I'll do is to simply wait for the power to come on. So I'll get to iron that 1 inch seam allowance. I'm going to iron so it will form a crease for me, and that crease is going to serve as my guideline when I am sewing.